Trojandude in this preliminary round of the brackets stage. I am Rainbow Poogle, and I am joined by Echo. How's it going, Echo?
It's going great. I'm super excited to see this best-of-3 match between Richard and Trojandude, two very skilled runners who both came out 3-2 in our bracket stage. Definitely excited to see what they have to pull out here for us.
Absolutely. Both of these runners are extremely skilled. Yes, they have different numbers as far as seeding goes, but don't let that fool you. They are both know exactly what they're doing and have a lot of skill to bring to the tournament.
Yeah. We received a bit of info from Richard before the match. He told us that he made an apple pie today instead of practicing, and he wants to find the water vein in Horu. So that's 2 pieces of incredibly spicy information.
Richard always wants to find the water vein in Horu.
I mean, it's better than the water vein being in Horu and not finding it, right?
Well, yes, right. But that also does technically mean the water vein could be multiple skill gated.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but like there are plenty of places where it could be multiple skill bladed and they're all terrible, right? Like Valley Long Swim. I guess that's only one skill. It's just also like usually clean water. Anyways, that's not as important as this race, which it looks like we are going to be starting now.
So, as is typical, what do you want us to see at the start, Aiko?
I want to see our runners wishing good luck on your rando, and we've got that from Trojan, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that from Richard. More seriously, I want to see some kind of skill, and I don't want it to be wall jump or climb. I'd like to see a first skill that's just sort of blows things open, and it looks like we are going to see keystones, which are kind of like a skill, in that you can pick them up.
Blowing things open, you say? So, like, Charge Flame.
Charge Flame does blow things open, like your energy and happiness and like willingness to progress forward at the seed. I don't know. If we see plant interaction early, I'd love for it to be grenade, just because grenade's great. And I really love getting grenade early because all of the things that you would normally use Charge Flame for, like blowing up brambles, enemies, just telling things that you don't like them. But grenade is just so much better at that.
But then you can't use Charge Flame Burn.
You could actually use Charge Flame Burn. There's nothing stopping you besides the fact that it's a bad idea and you shouldn't.
Well, if you get Grenade and not Charge Flame, then there's your problem.
Well, I mean, the only problem if you don't want to waste 3 ability points. But if you didn't want to waste 3 ability points, why would you level Charge Flame Burn?
Well, we've got a Mapstone as the second pickup, so we don't exactly know where our runners are going to go from here. They've got 2 pickups they can check within Logic and 1 they cannot, because Standard Logic, aside from a single pickup in Swamp, will never make you go into Dirty Water, ever. And as such...
Slightly more specifically, it will never make you pick something up in Dirty Water. There are a couple of 2 damage boosts that do require swimming in water, just not getting something from it.
A la Death Gauntlet and all that noise. That is a decent amount of experience underwater, and neither of our runners is going to choose to keep it. Looks
yeah,
like
100
Richard can even check underneath the water.
Yeah, Richard took 2 damage approaching that, giving him a faster Ghost Door, but it will not put him in a position where he can easily check that. Turns out it's not going to be that big of a deal, but it might be weighing on his mind. He is not going to opt for... Okay, I lie. He is going to opt for the putting the... Oh, nope, just kidding.
Richard doing a bit of a fake out.
Yeah. Overall, costing him basically an insurmountable lead of like 3 seconds. That Trojan is going to grab a keystone. It is the Gumon seal. That's probably not going to be relevant.
Pedestal.
Yeah. And that means we have 2 remaining pickups, only one of which has to be some kind of progression. So what do you think we're going to see, Poogle? Is it going to be wall interaction, charge jump, a teleporter?
We're more than likely going to see wall interaction, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got... Oh, never mind, we have wall interaction. But I wouldn't have been surprised if we'd gotten a teleporter or just more keystones or even bash.
Yeah, keystones actually wouldn't have been enough, but we could have still gotten one here and had to go all the way down to the wall jump tree. Getting wall jump here is much nicer than getting it down there, because it means you can check this area, then check the wall jump tree, then leave, as opposed to the whole... You find wall jump down there and you're forced to either jump back up or Alt-R, and, you know, it's just not a great time.
And that does mean that they can check the energy cell next to the wall jump tree instead of leaving it for later and hoping they don't need it, because sometimes they'll have to backtrack all the way down there, and that just wastes a lot of time for one pickup.
Yeah, of course, they still could be forced to, as that EXP orb right above Trojan's head is something that could be required. You never want to see that. You usually don't, but, it's possible.
We're going to get our first skill tree, because sign does not technically count. And we will have charge jump, so they won't have to come back down here after all.
Nice. That is going to be a very nice pickup to have early. Lets them go up, does 50 damage. I love that charge jump does 50 damage. And I expect now we will see maybe a bit of a split, as our runners could do either Spirit Caverns or Blackroot, and we'll see what they opt for.
Trojan's going to come to the right here and check this one particular pickup, which charge jump does unlock, and it is the water vein. Are you kidding me?
Nice. Grotto Teleporter would put Ginso in logic right now, which would be pretty funny. You're just casual.
What?
Look, it's fine. Sometimes the randomizer shuffles things and the result isn't terrible. I'm not saying it's often, but it can happen. All right, so Richard does not altar. He is instead going to backtrack up to Spirit Caverns, which will get him. That is actually a pretty fast backtrack, and it gets us information on this slightly sooner. He does not have the water vein yet, but you don't really forget to have that. Forget to check that pickup when you have charge jump, and he finds the Sorrow Teleporter, which is really nice.
So we've got 2 of the 3 keys in 5 minutes, and charge jump. This is a seed so far.
This is indeed a seed. I agree with that diagnosis. And we've even got 4 keystones, so Richard can head just straight up and open this door right away.
That's 2 energy, so if our runners really want to just go to Ginso, they technically could. It requires a sequence break and a bit of experience manipulation, but if they wanted to go for it...
Yeah, I think if we were going to see that, and I'm not saying that it seems very likely, they wouldn't have wanted to open this door, because those 4 keystones would have been pretty valuable in Ginso. But that kind of thing, sequence breaks where you spend keystones, especially early game, can be very dangerous, because the randomizer tries very hard to keep you from spending keystones in such a way that you end up with none and are sad and cry and just are like, my life is terrible because I made a poor choice. But it can't really stop you from doing that if you go very far out of logic and then just throw keystones in some random doors. So that is the kind of sequence break you will usually see runners avoid or try to avoid, because it feels so bad.
There are places you can dupe keystones, but it's not fun.
Yeah, and especially early game, none of the easily available key dupes are that great. So
yeah, because it's either Spirit Caverns, which is the one that they just went through, or it's I guess the next one would be Grotto?
Yeah. You could. There are some places where you can do keystones one at a time. It's just always terrible. But we've got a 3rd energy for our runners, which means that a 4th could be coming up soon, and that would make that Death Gauntlet trek not a sequence break, though pretty obnoxious on 3 health.
Oh dear.
There we go, 4 energy. Richard finds it, and he's going to head right away, as you are wont to do when you altar with 4 energy, and he's going to get his water vein. That's going to be pretty cool.
So now our runners have a very interesting choice to do. They can go into Death Gauntlet, they could go into Blackroot Burrows. Looks like Richard's going to open that door and then leave, considering just 3 health and not much of... Oh my god.
All right, so that is all 3 of the dungeon keys in Glades or a mapstone that was also in Glade. So, we're actually beta testing the new key mode free from 3.0. We're just giving you all the dungeon keys at the start. And now we're just, go for it. Hit the trees, leave.
I'm not even going to finish my prior statement, just okay.
Yeah, this is fine. I think we're going to see both our runners head into BRB at this point. Just on the offhand chance that there's more health or some piece of progression here that doesn't make the because you can, and with logic, actually just be fine in Grotto, but I think this charge jump and wall jump and 3 health is just sort of a really uncomfortable trek through Grotto. There's a lot of things that can kill you, and you don't have a lot of precision in your movements.
This is going to bring us with an interesting little spin on this race now, because obviously Richard has to go back and get that Sunstone, but we're really going to be able to see how far our runners are willing to dive for certain skills and what they consider go mode for them. So maybe it'll take 2 skills, maybe it'll take 3, maybe it'll only take 1 for our runners to go, nah, I can finish Final Escape with this, it's fine. And it's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to do.
Yep. And yeah, just one. What I really expect to or look forward to seeing is when they start skipping pickups and what pickups they start skipping, really. So yeah, they're both gonna grab that energy regen and then warp out. I think we saw at least one of them, and perhaps both of them, check the roof pickup already. And oh, Richard sort of bonked into the roof and has to grab the orb. He saves himself with wall jump, which is very good. You really don't want to be falling all the way down there. It is a major time loss. Here, just a minor time loss, and it's fine. He can even drop the orb and charge jump up if he wants, and he does. Just gotta wait a bit for it to get to him.
So we're gonna
yeah, now we're almost synced.
We're gonna see both of our runners head into the dash room, get their third tree, which would give them their first clue, but it's unless it is the Sunstone clue, which would help Richard out. But Trojan doesn't need anything anymore. He just needs the skills to finish the game that he feels comfortable with, and the rest of the trees.
Yeah, the Grove, the Sunstone, I misspoke earlier. It is in Grove and not Glades. Grove is a pretty big area, so that may not necessarily clue Richard into the exact location. But if he does a Grove check starts a Grove check and does it left to right, which is the reasonable thing to do once you get planned access, he will very quickly find it.
And considering they have the teleporter, they can either just go from the teleporter or go up from start.
Yeah, pretty fast either way. But we'll see what they find here in Blackroot as they have gotten past the auto-scroller section and have gotten to the meat, the juicy interior of the area, if you will. And you might not.
Well, we've got 90 experience from the dash log pickup, so we got our first health cell from the tree, which is going to be nice. So for our runners to finish Escape, they're going to either need at least 6 health or 5 health and Stomp, and they're going to need either clean water or a heck of good swimming.
Yeah. Ooh, Trojan takes a bit of a fall. We've got synchronized falls here. Trojan quits out earlier. Richard takes an extra jump before realizing that is not possible. You need charge jump and double jump, and we did get that Sunstone hint, so Richard does know that it is in Grove. 57 experience. Oh, this is interesting. Richard does opt to keep this. I actually really like this. Not that that experience is that valuable, but with charge jump, keeping a pickup down there is basically free.
And he does get a level up off of it, so I can see why you'd want to keep it.
Yeah, ability points are scarce, and he is going to want to be using one. That actually puts him from 0 to 1 AP, so keeping it is a huge deal because it means he can skip a cutscene, though he does not need to skip the boulder escape cutscene because he can just jump over the boulder.
Does look like Trojan is going to opt to skip it, though.
Yep. I think Richard is going to as well. Oh, I lied. They both had 2 AP, not 1, so it was fine. Either way. Trojan gets a little cutscene. This is where like Sign just reminds you that like you should come back here maybe when you have Stomp. Like, yeah, thanks Sign. I appreciate that. You are useful and helpful to me. None of those things are true.
Well, that's why we have a category for that.
Yeah, we do. Do those not play in those categories? I've never actually watched like a full run, but I would assume they would play anyways because why not?
It looks like Trojan's going to go to the right, as is Richard, so Richard might be saving that Grove cleanup for later, like, as you said, when he gets plant access.
Yeah, I think putting off searching for a dungeon key makes a lot of sense, especially when you don't have the skills required to traverse that area, and double especially when that area doesn't contain a tree for you, which it does not. Ooh, Trojan is going to... Okay, he made a save, good.
We found the 1 experience.
Nice. Also found the 54 experience, and by the I mean a, and a 79 experience. That is a total of 134 experience from those 3 pickups, Boogle.
Wow, you doing math on stream is actually super impressive. I can't do math that fast.
Yeah, Ooh, man, that bumps it up to 155. Yeah, sure does. Nice, 155 experience from the Death Gauntlet, and we haven't even checked the plant yet.
Nice. This has been a great, basically synced up from both of our runners so far. I'm wondering if we're going to even get a divergence or if our runners are both kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities to diverge here. One of them could go up, the other could go down, but no, we're both going up. I actually really like this. Trojan checks this pickup down here, which is definitely possible with the damage boost, but it requires you to get the charge jump off the spikes first try. It is just an ability cell, as Richard proved, so we're not going to keep it. And they are both going to head down. I think heading up actually makes a lot of sense, too, because there are more plants below us than above us, I think. Is that true? All right, we do actually have...
With an early water vein, that makes me lead to think that progression's going to be in Ginso.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And if Trojan heads there right away, that could be a huge play for him. He's going to head through this outer swamp loop, as people like to call it, and we will see where he goes from there, because a play into Ginso could be huge for him. Richard, however, is going to drop into Grotto, and he checks the vanilla water vein, and wow, clears that map almost instantly, finding a keystone there.
The truck is reminding me, though, that Trojan only has 2 keystones, so going into Ginso immediately is not as nice of a play, considering that with just charge jump, it's really hard to get the dupe.
Yeah, it also, that dupe sucks. Like, you never want to do it if you can avoid it. But I mean, hey, he might find keystones here. He doesn't. But, you know, there's still 2 more locations on his path. So, you know, theoretically possible. But it would be a little surprising to see that, given his keystone count. There's one, though. I don't know. Could this be it? We'll have to find out.
Meanwhile, on Richard's side, he's going to check the lower left part of Grotto and find Dash at the health cell.
That is a pretty big pickup. With this divergent, it might be a while before Trojan makes it down there. Trojan definitely known for his thorough play, so I doubt he won't grab that unless he's somehow already in go mode by the time he gets to Grotto. But every second, oh my god, there's Climb too. Climb and C-Jump definitely are great in terms of breaking stuff, but also really good early for precision movement when you don't have any other aerial mobility options. Oh, I like this. Richard is going back here to grab that crystal so he can make a save. But yeah, Trojan is going into the Ginso tree.
He's at 4 keystones. So correct me if I'm wrong, but our runners got the Sorrow teleporter, yes?
They did, in fact, get the Sorrow teleporter. Oh, interesting. Trojan decides that he is not all about that life, but is forced to turn around because he's got to watch Gumo leave with the water vein that he already found. Now, let's just not worry about that. He put the water vein in the door. Gumo takes the water vein out of the door, but the door's already open, so it's not a big deal.
With these skills and a couple more health, our runners could absolutely go to the charge jump tray.
Yeah, they definitely could. I'm not sure that they will, though, until it becomes one of the last trees that they have. Richard takes a bit of a quick death on those spikes. Definitely not the kind of thing you want to be taking, but not a huge deal given where his save was. And now he can check basically everything that isn't a plant in Grotto. Actually, he could have before, now that I think about it. But he can check it faster now with Dash. And ooh! Oh my god, Trojan just found Stomp and Charge Flame in the Hollow Grove area. So we've got a skill divide from our players. And funnily enough, both of those skills can be used to do similar things, which is to say Charge, Flame, and Stomp can break things below you. Climb can break things below you if you have Charge Jump, and Dash can break plants if you have Charge Dash.
We're missing the knowledge of 3 skills.
Yep.
What is this seed?
The seed is Tournament. I don't actually remember the number, so I can't answer that question literally. Darn it. Oh, seed 1112. Thank you, Truck. Standard clues encrypted 2.6.9. That is what the seed is.
I thought that cutscene got patched out.
No, the ability to skip that cutscene got patched out.
Oh, right, that's what it is.
Sure is. But yeah, Richard is still several points short of being able to get that charge jump. So for now, Trojan can check more pickups. And if he completes this loop and heads into Grotto, he will quickly get that dash and climb, which will put him in a very nice position skill-wise.
There's the Valley Teleporter, and here's the thing about Trojan. The way he routed, he can get all the plants on the way down, too. So he doesn't have to make a second trip if something ends up going horribly askew.
That is definitely a great feeling. Just, I actually really like this position routing, and I don't know if that's what he was thinking or not. We can ask him, but like delaying going down here until you have plant access is so nice because it's not an area you want to revisit. Oh, this is interesting. I believe Trojan is going to head over here to Death Gauntlet, check the plant in the roof, and then either save scum and reload, or just take a quick death if it's not something he wants to keep. It is an energy cell. He does not wish to keep that.
So where is Richard gonna go after his double jump tree? Is he gonna check the oh, he's not gonna check it. So technically speaking, that door, for whatever ungodly reason, is Grove.
Yeah, yeah, Richard does have that Sunstone hit. He doesn't. Oh, ooh, he takes a pretty big death there. He does have Charge Dash now, so he has plant access. But as far as he knows, that is out of logic. He went to the Death Gauntlet roof and checked the plant there. I think we're gonna see him go around and check a bunch of other plants now.
As we are going to see Trojan make his first dip into Grotto, or Lower Grotto more so.
Gumo's Hideout, as the game calls it. And he is going to do that same cutscene skip as Richard heads up here. And oh, if this is where Richard starts his Sunstone hunt, he's going to find it very soon, and then will be poised to head through into Hollow Grove if he wishes, where he may find those skills. So we might just be seeing a little bit of a swap from our runners.
So Richard is going to do the climb charge jump method of getting up here, getting his Sunstone. Where is he going to go now? Is he going to go through Hollow Grove? He might just, as you said, just go through here, pick up some extra stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to look for logical plant access in a situation like this. Without Glide or the without both Glide and the Sorrow Teleporter, Bash basically has to be on the left side of the map. And Bash, a nice skill to have, known to be useful, so definitely could see wanting to at least check some more things for that from one or both of our runners.
Looks like Trojan's definitely going to get his dash, because he is coming over here.
Yep.
Where was Stomp, exactly?
Stomp was the plant right below where Charge Flame was. Charge Flame was the ability cell near that unskippable, thanks to the patch cutscene.
Right. I was thinking of Climb, because both runners found two completely separate skills that I just could not keep straight. My apologies.
Oh yeah, Climb is down here. It is this ability cell that we now see on screen, and I believe that Trojan will grab that too. Really just Trojan missing a skill in an area he's checking usually doesn't happen. He is very good about knowing where all the pickups are, knowing how to get to each one as fast as he can, and doing that. It is definitely a skill that has paid off for him pretty well.
So Richard is going to check the remainder of the Spider Sack Grove area, and he's now going to find his Charge Flame and his Stomp, more than likely.
Yeah, this is going to be really nice for him. He's going to now be at a skill parity. And though his routing didn't get him to Grotto with plant checking, it is going to get him to Ginso with a nice set of skills for doing Ginso. So we might see him after he checks the Hollow Grove, basically this horror field stuff, we might see him just head into Ginso. And a nice little thing for Richard also is that because he found Explosion Power upgrade, his Charge Flames are free.
Which is a fantastic thing to have.
Yeah, they also deal twice as much damage, I think, and have a radius that is unchanged for reasons.
Interesting thing, Trojan is actually skipping a few... Oh, no, I take that back. Trojan is not skipping any pickups right now, because as you said, Trojan is a very thorough runner. Very methodical, likes to route things as he goes, is very good at picking up all the things along the way without having too much of an issue of routing.
Ooh, Richard takes a bit of a death, which is obnoxious because I believe it means he has to watch the Kurosias again. Yep, this time he kills the frog. The frog actually was super rude, sniped him right as this cutscene ended. Just really obnoxious. The game really only checks your Y position for this, so it can definitely be so it triggers down here when it's intended to trigger up there where it focuses on, which can be bad news if there's a frog down here and it's just waiting to murder you.
Looks like we're gonna see Richard do the pickup loop that Trojan already did.
He can check the plants here though, so there's 2 plants here. He actually could also just head straight into Swamp. That'd be interesting to see. We would get some new info. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, because with Charge Jump and Stomp, he doesn't even need Climb. He can just be like, "Yup." And that plant was a keystone. Trojan's not going to be too sad about missing that one, though he may come back for it. Now we're going to see what this plant is, which could be a bigger deal.
And this ability cell is going to be...
An ability cell, nice.
So I think if anything, what our runners might want to find is either Bash, Double Jump, or Glide. Or
Yeah,
Grenade,
definitely.
because Grenade jumps.
Grenade would be nice, but I think that it is, of those skills, probably the least interesting to our runners. I think Bash would probably be the highest, closely followed by either Double Jump or Glide. Let's see, Richard is heading to the Stomp Tree. He can't check any of the underwater pickups, really, or the Grenade pickup, but he can check the Charge Jump pickup over here, which sometimes is just, you have to leave it behind, and it feels really bad because it's so far out of the way, but he does not have to leave it behind, and he can collect all 165 experience that it has for him.
The Stomp Tree is going to be 40 experience. That is Richard's 5th tree of the match. Trojan is going to follow suit and go to the lower route of Swamp.
Yeah, I like this. Interesting that he decides to... Did he already check the pickups above and below? I may have
Trojan
missed
did
it.
the full loop.
Well, no, the pickups like above where he just walked and below where he just walked.
I'm not certain, but he's skipping things.
He
Might
may
mean
in
that
fact be
Trojan
skipping this.
considers himself in full go mode.
Or partial go mode, right? He has said that he checks stuff when he feels like it makes sense to him, and will start skipping stuff when he feels like that is the better play. So maybe he is going to just go through here and then head... Oh, I like this. He is going to go back here and make sure he didn't miss anything from this ability cell, this 12 experience plant. But it looks like Richard is probably moving towards the Ginso tree. He tries to do a swarm rocket jump and instead has to do a slime rocket bump, and finds charge dash efficiency, making his future rocket jumps cost only half an energy. That is a very nice find.
That is extremely worth getting.
Yep, and he's got 7 keystones, so he will be all set to go. Even set up to do a key dupe on the upper door if he decides to continue without having to find more keystone.
With Trojan not too far behind, he's also going to get his 5th tree here. Clues don't really matter at this point anymore, considering that our runners have all 3 keys and had them very early on.
Yeah, really all that matters is our runners getting all the trees, and then finding the skills that they need, skills and resources they need to do the escape with, and then doing the escape. So it's really just going to be about who does that first. And Richard has a slight lead on trees. They're at the same number, but Richard has progressed further towards his next tree than Trojan has, and takes a not too bad of a death, honestly, in this spiky area. Without double jump, a lot of these things are navigatable with these skills. It's just awkward because charge jump moves you too far up and dash moves you too far to the side, so you actually just get more movement, and in a tree full of spikes you usually want the precise amount of movement you're looking for and not more.
The nice thing is that charge dashing into these teleporters refreshes your charge dash, so it refreshes the energy it gave you, you used from it. Now,
I did not actually know that refunded
charge dashes? Yes, it does.
Yeah, cool. I do know it refreshes your double jumps and your air dashes, however many you have, but that is a cool little mechanic. Today we learned.
For speedruns that come to Ginso much later in the run rather than earlier, as in all skills, it's really nice to go fast. So
yeah, I could see that being cool. Richard makes
Ginso. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying he makes quick work of the mini boss. Looks like a 2-cycle. With Trojan hot on his heels, and Trojan is going to do the charge dash redirect, and that is good. Sometimes you will see people shoot that too high, which can be pretty tricky. And oh, nice. Trojan Dude gets the one cycle there with that charge jump, charge dash, charge flame combo. Is in charge of the situation, takes it out fully charged. All right, I'll stop.
So, we've got early-ish Water Vein, we've got Ginso. What skills are we going to find in the upper key dupe room? Because that's always where things are.
I'm going to say that the 4 keys are going to be Grenade, Double Jump, Bash, and Glide. Just straight up. Just like all 4 keys are skills. That's what I'm calling.
Oh gosh, that'd be silly.
It
Let's
would.
see if either of our
silly.
runners actually keep going in the Ginso tree, considering what they have going on. It looks like Richard is going to continue along, as is Trojan Dude, so we have basically a synced race going on right now.
Yeah, this is pretty sweet. We saw them synced earlier and then split up, but yeah, now we have them basically back right next to each other. This is going to be really cool to see. All right, 1 skill. I'm still counting that even though it wasn't a keystone. Partial credit and all that. But Glide means that the end of the game, past the end of the game, is a lot closer for them. They still are going to want something like either Bash or Double Jump, but this is still pretty nice. Glide is a good skill. Does good things like let you fall to your death more slowly, which is really what speedrunning is all about. Right? I'm new to this. Someone help me out here.
Alright. Pretty much. There's 15 experience. Trojan's gonna let that go. There's a Mega Energy. And we still don't know what this keystone is up here.
Yeah, getting these without dying is really obnoxious, and it is just a health cell, so Richard's going to leave my 4 skill prediction broken. I wonder if Trojan's going to continue upward. He has 5 keystones, so he could if he wanted to, but it is a pretty hefty time investment to check a smaller number of pickups, so we'll see what he decides to do. He is going to leave.
Ooh, I like this from Richard. He's gonna go into Sorrow.
Yeah, he can navigate this area with these skills. Mostly the problem is that touching anything will probably kill him. Not quite in this area. Those spikes only deal 4 damage. I say only, like that isn't 4/5 of his health. And yeah, big oof there. But he will be able to make it all the way over here, and then with Stomp, he can head down and check all these pickups if he wants, or just head straight to the... Okay, he's going to save. I like that.
Now, this is interesting.
And, yeah.
We have both of our runners going to the charge jump tree, but from different ends. We've got Richard going from the right of the tree, and we've got Trojan going from the left of the tree. Well, left of the teleporter, my bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's approaching the tree from... No, actually, they are both approaching it from the left, technically, because this loop sort of curves around and back out. And, oh, Trojan is going for a little trick that you can do to extend your charge jump by charge dashing right afterwards, but it can be a little difficult. You need to hit the plant so that you don't charge dash into it, I think is how that works.
Well, he got it.
But, yeah, and they are approaching the charge jump tree at the same time.
Looks like Richard key-duped a bit.
Yeah, I don't think they need keystones anymore. But, sometimes you just want to have the same number of keystones as your opponent, who you can't know also has 5 keystones, because that would require cheating. So, just one of those things.
So it looks like Trojan Dude is going to head back to the Sorrow teleporter and go the way that Richard did in order to get down to Valley. Because while they have the Valley teleporter, as they both have Stomp, the kill plane being there is a little... what's the word I'm looking for?
It's obnoxious. I think obnoxious would be the correct way to describe it. They could go from the Valley teleporter and then just go up, but it is easier by far to just drop down out of Sorrow. And I think oh my god, the sync is unreal here. Look at this.
Now, this is what's really interesting. Trojan's the one checking less pickups right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're both checking things that are a little bit out of the way, but yeah, Trojan is checking slightly less things, and he is going to get to his feather slightly before Richard, but they are both so close to each other. This is wild. Any minor hiccup could sway this race one way or another. And it's interesting because while they are in pretty decent skill go mode, their health is not great. Richard has 1 more health orb than Trojan. And I don't think Either of them have Ultra Defense, so I don't know how close Trojan is to it with those 10 ability points. Oh, okay. Well, he is close enough to have it. That's how close he is.
So we're getting word from the truck that because of the skills and the teleporters that they had, Bash could be somewhere over here on the left-hand side.
Yep, that is definitely the case because they can come to because they can enter Valley from above. There is no hard requirement that Bash not be here, and it also could have been in Sorrow. I think we are not going to see our runners do any searching for anything besides like just resources that they need, and we're seeing them grab the easy pickup in Misty. I will be interested to see if they go for any of the ones that take a bit longer to check, though there aren't that many of those in the first half of Misty. One of the interesting things about the area is that I don't think there's any pickup here that with these skills would take more than like 5 seconds or more than like 10 seconds out of the route to check. It's kind of cool.
Well, there's a 6 health cell for Trojan, so that Ultra Defense, he'll be solid.
Yep. Definitely nice. And oh my god, there's another health cell. More than solid.
And
super solid.
Because of Trojan checking that extra pickup, they're synced up again.
Yep. And they're synced in health values now. This is pretty cool. And Trojan stops checking pickups now because he doesn't go for that, or he doesn't go for the one past that keystone. Maybe he feels like 7 health is all he needs. And that's full go mode for him.
That could potentially be it. That does give him, with Ultra Defense, a very good buffer to get through the final escape.
Yeah, it means he can take damage from the fire once and still survive the swim. And if he is confident that he can do that, he will be good. Richard checking just a few more things. It's going to put him a bit behind, but God, this race is so close.
That is Trojan's 9th tree and will be very quickly Richard's 9th tree.
Yeah, and after that, all they need is Grenade. This is crazy.
I'm not sure Richard has Ultra Defense, though, yet.
He doesn't, but he does have 10 ability points, so he will be able to get it. No problem. And in fact, we will probably see him level that up when he skips the cutscene right before the Grenade tree. This is interesting. Trojan opts to take the teleporter. We'll see if Richard skips it because it is slightly slower with these skills. And nope, they are both going to take that for a continual sync, though Trojan has pulled ahead just a bit.
Oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. They've been on each other's tails the entire time, the lead going back and forth, back and forth. This is anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, this is incredible. Easily the closest race I have ever commentated. This is insane to see, and really just incredibly like clean, solid, and just great play from both these runners. They're both making choices that make a lot of sense, that just keep them really close together. And yeah, that is Trojan's 10th tree. He will be teleporting to Swamp to end the game. And there we see on the left, Richard is getting that Ultra Defense. And oh, because he has to level up 3 skills, he has to wait for the screen to fade to black. There's a period after which, if you haven't leveled it quite yet, it just forces you to watch the fade to black before you can quit out to the menu. But that is maybe half a second of time. Nobody cares about half a second.
Not only that, but since Richard is not normally a controller player, I did see him move the mouse to get to those skills a little bit quicker than having to maneuver his controller stick and the selecty thing, as the technical term is, over to grab the blue tree.
Yeah, excellent use of switching to the mouse pointer for the selecty thing in order to save time.
Oh goodness, they are right next to each other. I don't think Richard ever got the swamp teleporter.
Oh, alright. Well, that is going to cost him a maybe like 10 seconds, I think, with these skills. It is really not much of a time cost, but 10 seconds matters in this race. We are really down to the wire here. And Trojan is going to be starting his door warp as Richard just enters this sort of horror field sub area, and he's going to head back up a bit just to make sure he gets those energies for charge jump. Or charge dashes, excuse me. Charge jump being the one skill with charge in its name that doesn't require energy.
Richard didn't get charge dash efficiency from next to the Ginsa tree.
Wasn't he the one who found that? I think Trojan's the one without charge dash efficiency. Trojan's checking validation. He got the first try door warp. We'll see if he finds anything here. It is a keystone. So that is going to cost him a bit of time if Trojan doesn't, or if Richard doesn't check that. But here he is starting his final escape. And it's going to come down to this, because while this is go mode and a reasonable go mode, this isn't easy. This is bashless, double jumpless, escape. And while that's definitely very doable, they can only take 1 instance of damage. And I think the place where you would want to spend that damage boost if you're planning on spend it is the elemental room.
Richard also gets first try door warp. A single death from either runner could turn this race on its head.
Yeah, and oh, I really like this. Trojan is going to use the friendly spikes and the Kuro skip in this area to make sure he just has a free route through that room. Very good play from him. I really like seeing that. We'll see what he decides to do in this room. He's down to 1 energy. Okay, he needs to charge jump up. Okay, if he can just get through. All right, that was the hardest room in the escape, though. He is out of energy, so he just needs to make sure that he can kill or otherwise rebuff these fish. Because he can take 9 ticks of damage here at most. And oh, he just needs to not die to this fish and get out of the water. Get out of the water, and he's out. Yes.
There will be no fish strats, and what is he doing?
He's there's the glide box is right before the Kuro hitbox. So if you just want to be 100% sure you aren't going to miss that, you can just set that up, and he is going to be through. He cannot grenade jump, and oh my god, that was such a nice escape from Trojan. He is through. GG.
Richard dying to the elemental room from the damage, and not quite get this. Oh, there we go. Manages to get through the laser pillar of horrible, horrible fire, get back to the elemental room. He's gonna go for the single damage boost, and he makes that as well. He's got plenty of energy to get through the fish, so it wouldn't surprise me if he just charge flames the fish out of his way.
Yeah, his charge flame's actually free, but no, he's just gonna swim around them, and he is going to get out. Because he doesn't take fish damage, he has a bit more health than Trojan, who would have actually died if he didn't have health regen. But yeah, that's gonna put them both holding right at the same time, but for Trojan, it's going to come. Oh, Richard takes another death. That is really unfortunate. Probably going to feel pretty bad, but this was a super close race.
This escape is not easy.
It really isn't. Trojan made it look that way, honestly, but this is an incredibly difficult escape. Most variants of the Bashless escape are not are anything but free, but like this, where you can only take 1 damage boost and you don't even have double jump, it's very hard. And yeah, on the right, Trojan is going to have time. That is 40 minutes, 44 seconds, 36 milliseconds. An incredible time for a seed like this, by where like this means without bash.
Is he stuck?
Is he? Is he stuck? He is. He's certainly in a place. Oh, and we're hearing from the truck that Richard, seeing his opponent winning, has decided to call it here, which is pretty reasonable. You want to like reset and get your brain ready for round 2.
But he's still not dying yet. That is a very interesting spot that you can get stuck in without taking damage.
Ori and the Blind Forest, known for its good coding, consistent graphics, and general hitboxes making lots of sense, especially here in the final escape. Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we exploit any of those things, not at all.
I would never. It would be immoral to exploit a glitch in a video game, Poogle. I can't see how anyone would do that. It's just so wrong.
Alas, speedrunners.
Just so bad.
Alright, well, we're gonna reset here, give our runners a couple minutes to catch their breaths, and we will be back very soon with Game 2 of this round of best of 3 in the preliminary rounds. This is going to be pretty fun. We'll catch y'all in a bit.
Yeah, and that'll be all from Poogle and I. I'd like to thank Nans and Halcyon for tracking, and Hydra for restreaming all these matches like a boss.
Thank you, everybody. Stick around. We'll be back real soon.
And we're back with more Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer action. Coming up for you right now is Race 2 of the best of 3 between Richard and Trojandude as a preliminary match in the brackets. On commentary, my name is Shed, and this time I'm joined by ogNdrahciR. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I just got done tracking their first match, and that was one heck of a race. Did you get to watch it, Shed?
I did. It was absolutely one to watch. Trojan managed to take it, so he is now up 1-0 in this match and is going to look to close out the best of 3 and take his advancement spot in the bracket right now, and Richard is trying to stop him.
That's right. They're just getting ready to get started here. What do you think we're going to see in this race?
It's hard to say. That last race was so close that I kind of want to see that again. I want to see another close race. It's very clear that these two runners are of similar skill level, at least in terms of execution and routing in general, to be honest. But it is the randomizer. You never really know what could happen going in.
Yeah, the seeds I've been seeing in this bracket, I think Sigma was hoarding the good ones through the Swiss rounds. We're getting all the fast ones now.
The curse of 269 is being lifted. All right, here we go. The runners are off. We're getting some hearts from Trojan. What do you think we're going to see in the early stages of this seed? What do you think our progression is going to look like?
I'm thinking a Keystone first.
Well,
and
there you go.
Oh man, and Climb Seed, I think.
Climb Seed. Oof. That used to be, I remember in the early days of the Ori Randomizer, that used to be the terrifying thing for people because we just weren't comfortable with it yet. But nowadays, it's really not too bad if you have practice with it.
Yeah, and I'm going to be a little bit selfish here. I'm hoping Richard wins and gives us a game 3.
You know, I kind of hope so too. More Ori is never a bad thing.
Both of our racers hitting sign almost at the exact same moment here. They're so tied up.
I wouldn't expect anything less this early in the game. Our first 2 pickups, we saw a Keystone, just like you guessed, and a Mapstone. The Mapstone is kind of nice to have early, although it can also be an omen of terrible things. If we get another Keystone here, then the Mapstone's great, because that means you're going to have one to put into the Glades Mapstone, because it's out of the way. You'd like to get it when you're there anyway. But if we get something like a teleporter to the right side, that could be pretty terrible. Looks like we're going to get our second Keystone, though. No terrible paths at the start right now.
We could still get a teleporter. That second Keystone only unlocks something like 4 more pickups. And there's Climb. Oh,
you're psychic.
I'm on a hot streak today.
All right, we're gonna see Richard check the fake flippers pickup, see it's 6 XP, and actually keep it. That's interesting.
And looks like he's heading down to Blackroot. Well, Trojan is gonna take those 2 Keystones and head into Glades.
Maybe Richard.
No, he climbed back out. Interesting.
Looks like he reconsidered. Maybe thinking that he wanted to go back down to Blackroot, but changed his mind. So he's gonna be following behind Trojan now as they head into Glades. There's this map pedestal check that I mentioned that Trojan is going to be able to pull off.
Just a Keystone, but that is his second. He might take that up into Spirit Caverns. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting choice because it's fairly common that the well, at least the progression option for the seed to send you on is up through Spirit Caverns, all the way through past the 4 Keystone door that's in that area. So you need a lot of Keystones to do that. And a lot of runners like to check everything else before they go up to Spirit Caverns to make sure that they have those 4 Keystones if that's where they want to go. But of course, there are plenty of other potential paths that we might see out of the seed.
Yeah, and some runners just don't like to spend those 4 Keystones and will put that off as long as they can, even going into Spirit Caverns very early in the hopes of getting around. Oh, Trojan trying to do a damage boost climb on those spikes. Taking a little bit of death, but his save was nearby, so it didn't set him back too badly.
Having some more trouble with it. It's kind of a... He's decided he's going to push this rock instead, the air quotes casual strats. Yeah, that damage boost is not the most difficult thing in the world. It's also not easy, as Trojan is showing off there as well, and sometimes you just can't do it.
Yeah, we see Richard trying for it with just 2 health and getting it on his first try. So
Nice
bit of a lead vantage change here.
No, we're pretty much synced, I'd call it at this point.
Finding another health cell, that's some nice safety for our runners as they descend down here to the wall jump tree. They'll be able to grab that energy cell, but not necessarily this XP right over their heads as we speak. So
it's a rare
that in the back of their
time that
minds.
you get to check that XP this early on. You need to have Bash Grenade or Charge Jump pretty much to be able to get that, at least in this logic path. There are more difficult logic paths that have other ones that you can get. All right, looks like we found our next piece of progression. We found Charge Flame at the wall jump tree. This opens up the Charge Flame tree, the actual Charge Flame tree. Access to that. It also opens up, if we get more keystones, this also opens up the Hologrove Teleporter, and from there, the entire right side of the map pretty much, which is pretty slow to get to, so the runners are going to want to check as much as they can before trying to go down that path. Looks like we're going to have a split here as well. Trojan's going to head to BRB, while Richard is opting to head for presumably the Sea Flame tree. Yes, there he goes.
Yeah, and Richard will be able to check the plant here as well. Oop, missed with his first Charge Flame on that wall, unfortunately. So he'll have to go a little bit farther out of his way to get energy to hit that plant. Does find a map stone, which will be nice once he gets into another area with a map pedestal.
Always good to have that one. The second mapstone, I mean, because the Glades mapstone is not the only mapstone that's very out of the way if you don't get it the first time you see it. So having mapstones in store, ready to use, is always nice.
Yeah, Trojan, there is a way to get to that, what we call the All Skills XP orb without taking the, again, quote-unquote casual way through this room, but Trojan, either uncomfortable with it at this moment or just not wanting to deal with it right now, decides he's going to carry the orb over these slow platforms like
really
you would see in the casual playthrough.
I don't really blame him. The climb-only way of doing of getting up to this pickup he's going to check without doing this long casual path is very obnoxious, especially if you've not practiced it. And so a lot of runners will either opt for what Trojan did or just not even check that pickup if they only have climb. Just a little bit of XP for his trouble, and he's actually going to opt to stay in Blackroot instead of the typical Alt-R.
Yeah, it's a very interesting play. On our left, Richard making that play for Spirit Caverns. He's up to 5 keystones as he hits that keystone door, so he only needs 1 in Spirit Caverns to continue up to check Valley entry, get that Grove Teleporter, and potentially continue further into the Spiders area. I didn't see him pull the lever to change the platform level, though, so that might be something he has to go back to do.
That's a fair enough choice not to pull that lever. You're kind of like secretly hoping that you'll find some sort of skill that means you don't have to. And if you do, then you just head back down there and go pull it. It's not incredibly far away from the progression it opens up. Speaking of finding things, we found Dash for Richard now. That is a wonderful, nice, fast skill to have. And he's going to decide to keep that, not opting for the climb-only strat to get the top left pickup because it's kind of hard, and just going to take that Dash presumably into BRB now.
Yeah, that'll speed up his Blackroot just a little bit. Not a whole lot because of the number of times that you have to stand around on platforms, but the areas where you don't have to stand around, he'll be able to cover much more quickly. It also will make that lever easier to pull if he needs to. There's a little ledge at the very top that you can climb up and stand on and then dash off of.
Absolutely. So this is a little bit interesting now. If we think about what could be in BRB, if we find any sort of other progression here, if we find an ungodly number of energy cells or like a stomp or something, then it's potentially possible that Trojan doesn't actually head over to Spirit Caverns and find that dash. But if we don't find something like that, then heading up through Spirit Caverns through that keystone door is probably the intended progression of the seed, in which case Richard is actually going to be able to get back over there faster because he has dash.
Yeah, on the other hand, Trojan has the keystones now to go through there, so he won't have to deal with the problem Richard had, where he made it to that 4 keystone door to get up to the Hollow Grove teleporter with only 3 keys.
Absolutely. All right, Trojan's going to check this last pickup in the Blackroot main room. Keystone decides not to keep it. Interesting. He has enough, I believe, for the Spirit Caverns door. Yes, he does. And he's actually going to opt to head all the way down in BRB here to the teleporter. Past this boulder section. This is an interesting choice with Climb. There is a setup to be able to do this easily. We'll see if he uses it, but if you don't know any sort of setups, getting up this little area you can see on the right side of Trojan's screen, on the far right of your screen, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah,
looks like
Truck
he knows the
letting-
setup though.
Yeah, he is going to be going for that backflip Micro Ledge and gets it first try. Truck letting us know that everything that he finds here will not technically be in logic, even with dash, because of that Micro Ledge trick.
That's true. So Trojan will have to keep that in mind. Although it's still a fairly respectable choice to come down here.
Oh no, Richard missing his jump across Blackroot and taking a fall.
He could have sat there, waited for the orb to come to him, but maybe deciding let's not do that. We'll just try the jump if we can.
Yeah, with dash, he's not going to give up too much time running back from the teleporter where he made his safety save.
All right, we're going to see Trojan's couple of checks that he's earned by coming down here. I wouldn't expect to see any sort of progression, but he might find some... He found a health cell. He might find something else, for example. Extra keystones for later, who knows? Of course, there could just be some random later on piece of progression down here. Who knows?
An energy cell.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he couldn't check that map stone. He doesn't have that map altar. He doesn't have the map stone that Richard does. So he'll have to remember that he hasn't plugged in a map stone there in Blackroot for later if maps become very relevant to this seed.
It's kind of a hard one to forget. It's so close to a teleporter.
Yeah, it's a nice one to get to later.
It's fast to check, yeah. Exactly. All right, Trojan is going to head to the Charge Flame tree. We saw this from Richard earlier. There's just that map stone, basically, although getting the tree is also very important to note. This will also be Trojan's third skill tree, and we're going to get our first clue.
Yeah, our runners still very close together. Richard will be getting his third skill tree very shortly as well.
All right, we got our first clue, and it is such that the water vein is in Sorrow Pass.
All right, so now both of our runners will need to think about, do they want to find Glide before even going to Sorrow Pass?
Want to? Almost certainly. Will they decide to go there without? That is the question, I think, as we move forward. Ooh,
oh,
no.
Richard taking another fall. All right,
Yeah,
Trojan making his way to Spirit Caverns. He will get that dash pickup. We'll see if he goes for another Micro Ledge to check that upper left pickup. It's not in logic. It's a bit tricky to do, but it does let him get that out of the way now rather than having to come back later for it.
Very true. I kind of want... Okay, we're going to see Richard is actually not going to head down to the Blackroot teleporter. Either saying... I'm not exactly sure as to what Richard's logic is there. Maybe not comfortable with the climb only setup, or perhaps saying, I know it's not in logic. I don't need to go check that right now. I don't really need the teleporter. Let's just go where I think the logic is trying to take me. Trojan has a little bit of a tiny lead here, as he is already at the top of Spirit Caverns, having just collected his dash pickup and heading up to the top.
Yeah, and that second energy cell is going to serve Trojan very well through this part of the map, as with that and the charge flame efficiency ability he's leveled up, he gets 4 charge flames between refills, where Richard will get at most 2. And with the number of things to break with charge flame in this area, that can be very relevant.
All right, Trojan checking the 1 pickup in Valley Entry he can currently check. At least that's in logic. Finding just a health cell, although safety is always nice. Richard is not going to do so, perhaps saying, I want to come back when I have the skills to check the 3 pickups that are in that area.
Well, Richard also doesn't have any energy right now, so he might turn around and go back for it.
That's a very good point. I did not notice that. Very possible. And we have both of our runners in this Spirit Tree cutscene at the same time. Kind of a long thing, but necessary if you want access to this teleporter. You can get access to it through the pickup, but then you can't use it from here, and there's a glitch involving sign, and it's just a whole hassle. So a lot of people opt to actually take the teleporter itself by watching that cutscene. You are correct that we are going to see Richard head left to the valley entry to check this one thing. Trojan is now going to be heading right into Grove proper.
Yeah, using that small ledge we mentioned earlier to get that lever. He'll be heading over into the spiders area now. His XP looks pretty good. He might be able to get a time level up to check progression vaults early.
Nicely done with that dash glide. That is not easy for Trojan on the right side there. And I believe is actually in logic, even though it is quite difficult.
As far as I know, it is. And yeah, it is a tricky one to pull off.
We'll see if Richard opts for it. He might give it 1 or 2 tries and then opt not to get it. Or he might get it as well. Who knows?
Trojan not going for that timed level up. Looks like his XP was just a little bit off for it. Getting just some experience down here off the health cell, decides not to keep it. That climb out is a little bit difficult.
Richard has alt-R'd and gone back to Glades. Looks like he might be going down to the Blackroot teleporter now. Feeling a little bit more comfortable with it, or yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but going to
He
go
might
ahead
want
and
to
come
get
down
that
here.
second map early, which
That's very possible.
Could be very good for him if it's something like Bash.
Absolutely. It's not incredibly likely, although it is possible. And always, as always, having this Blackroot teleporter can be pretty nice.
It looks like Richard is going for a climb momentum variation on getting up to that boulder escape area. Oh, he's going back. Looks like he wants some XP to get a level up here so he can save.
All right, we're getting our second map check from Trojan. He finds the swamp teleporter there, which actually could be really nice for Richard if he manages to pull off this rather difficult climb momentum trick. If he gets that second map in the swamp teleporter, he won't have to do this whole trek through Grove that we saw Trojan do.
Yeah, and especially as Trojan didn't find anything there.
Oh,
well,
no.
Richard obviously won't know it. Oh, he gives up and leaves.
Yeah, that's not easy. If you know the backflip setup we saw Trojan do, it's pretty easy, but if you don't, then yeah, it's... If I didn't know that setup, I wouldn't go for it. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Trojan checking the Horu Field's health cell. This is actually in logic with no abilities if you have the swamp teleporter. Just some XP this time, so he'll not keep that again. Unfortunately, with that big time loss, Richard has fallen quite a bit behind in this overall pretty linear seed.
Yeah, you know, we've seen this a little bit in the brackets so far already, that if you're down, if your opponent is up 1-0 on you in a match, sometimes those nerves can be pretty tough to handle with, and maybe that's what we're seeing come out of Richard, because this is some abnormally nervous-looking play from him, I'd say.
Yeah, is he going for this the XP orb on the tree?
Not only do not think this is in logic with Climb, I'm not sure it's possible with Climb.
I think if he had air dash, he'd be able to pull it off, but I don't think he's got enough ability points to do that just yet.
Yeah, not quite. All right, we are going to see him head right now through the Spider Grove area. He's got to pull this lever, but we've already seen this area from Trojan. Speaking of Trojan, he's heading up over the swamp loop past Ginso now. There's a bunch of checks he can do on the way, and being a little bit starved on skills, just some horizontal momentum and breakage, he's going to be hunting quite a bit. He's going to check a lot of pickups if he can, just to try and find some more movement abilities.
And Richard going back into Spirit Caverns. He might be going for that upper left pickup.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe hoping for something a little bit out of sequence to give him an advantage.
I wonder what Richard is looking for. Perhaps just saying that he just dead set on trying to find some other way to the right side of the map instead of heading through Spider area, because it can be a little bit rough with this skill set, although I'm pretty sure by the looks of what we've seen that is what the seed wants you and expects you to do.
Yeah, he might not. Richard might not have done this trick with the dash and climb on the lever before. That might be giving him some trouble.
Very possible. I mentioned nerves earlier, but it might actually just be a case of Richard's might be unfamiliar with climb seeds like this, because it can be a little bit strange to know what is and isn't in Logic. A lot of extremely advanced runners who have played a lot of Randomizer, which Richard is fairly new, disclaimer, compared to a lot of people, talk about some tricks and sequence breaks involving climb that aren't actually in Logic, and that's usually all they kind of talk about when it comes to climb-only seeds. So knowing exactly what the Logic actually expects you to do can be a little bit challenging, and that's, I think, what we're seeing out of Richard right now.
Yeah, and I just spotted this out of the corner of my eye as Richard's running back into Blackroot. He never checked the XP orb at the top of Blackroot.
Interesting. It's possible to get with climb. Kind of a weird little corner jump, but possible.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go back and try his hand at this, getting to the boulder area again. On the right, while he's doing that, Trojan is making his way into the Death Gauntlet to clear that out.
Yep, just a couple of picks, but a good check nonetheless to do, because as I said, we're still a little bit rough in terms of skill set. So Trojan's going to be looking for something else to help him out, being pretty thorough with the areas he goes to. Thinking about where he wants to head next. All right, he is going to come in here and check this, although I'm pretty sure it's out of sequence. Yeah, I'm almost certain it's out of sequence to come down here, but wants to check it nonetheless.
Yeah, nice use of air dash there to get through those spikes without taking any damage, and then a reload of his save to leave it behind.
We'll be coming down into Gumo's hideout, but checking a few things on the way. This area we nicknamed the Glide Vault. Check the underwater pickup, take a death to refill his health, and looks like he will continue. This is a little bit annoying with just dash and climb. Made possible by having air dash, which he does have, although still annoying.
Oh, and Richard pulling up his map there for a moment, not apparently sure where he can go. Takes L, Richard.
That definitely makes me, that almost certainly confirms that Richard might be lost in exactly what he needs to do. We know from seeing Trojan do it, and also just in general knowing what is possible, that the seed expects you to pull that lever to open the way to the spider area of Grove to the right of the Charged Flame Tree, but Richard perhaps not realizing that that is possible.
Yeah, he might be trying to farm up ability points here for air dash to make his traversal a little bit easier. That would get him pretty easily into that boulder escape area as well as to that lever.
Yeah, air dash would help Richard out a lot here.
And on our right, Trojan making his way into Lower Moon Grotto, or Gumo's hideout. Ooh, taking a bit of a fall off of those arms. Looks like he's looking to go across and check that far left experience orb. Not a common check, but Trojan has been known to be very thorough. Oh, no, looks like he's deciding against it.
Yeah, a couple failed attempts and decides against it. Maybe tries again? No, okay. Yeah, I would expect, both from seeing Trojan's play in the past and sort of the situation he's in right now, for him to be particularly thorough with the areas he gets to. So we could even see him head down from here. Yeah, a couple pickups down here.
Richard managing to get his way up to air dash, makes it up to that boulder escape XP, and is having a little bit of trouble with the boulder escape itself with just climb and air dash.
Yeah, he doesn't have another ability point to glitch that boulder and make it trivial. That is kind of rough. Very rough, actually. So he's either going to need to farm another ability point or take this air dash elsewhere, which is looks like what he has opted to do. Although, I'm not exactly sure where he's headed at the moment. Unless he's going to Valley Entry.
Yeah, in this direction, he's got both Valley Entry and that upper left keystone in Spirit Caverns.
And, of course, the lever that we know he needs to pull.
Meanwhile, on the right side, Trojan just continuing to be thorough in Moon Grotto, not finding anything in particular yet. Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness! Holy
What a
crap,
find!
Are you kidding me? That is exactly what Richard needed to bail him out of this right now. That's wonderful.
Yeah, depending on how he decides to route with that, that could put... Oh,
Oh my
wow, and wall jump too! That might just put
Okay.
Richard back in this. We have a race, ladies and gentlemen.
How unlikely is it that the few pickups in the early game that you can potentially sequence break to, but aren't in logic, are this actually important to the seed progression? That's so incredibly unlikely, but might that I'm pretty sure single-handedly puts Richard back in this race. Like, we have a race again. I mean, Richard has Bash. That's such a wonderful skill. It's fantastic, and I don't know how long it's going to take Trojan to get back there, if at all, because he's already checked everything in there. Okay, he's found double jump. We're just finding a bunch of stuff right now.
Yeah, double jump is very nice, but I don't know that Trojan will ever go back to check those, especially if he finds a left side teleporter.
Exactly. He's checked everything else in the area pretty much. There's a couple other one-offs, but for now, that keystone is basically orphaned. It's so long to even think to go back to check that Trojan's going to need to hit it in a pretty rough spot if he's got a hope of finding Bash in this seed.
Yeah, Trojan finding on his double jump tree there, taking a numerical tree lead over Richard now, finding Explosion Power Upgrade, which is going to be very nice for our runners once both of them have it. Explosion Power Upgrade adds some damage to Charge Flame, which they have, and also will reduce its cost by half. Which stacked with...
No.
Oh no, Richard.
That's a pretty big death for Richard there. He even has to go back and pull the lever again. Ouch, that was pretty rough. Oh, he's still sitting on 1 energy, that's why. That's really rough. 1 energy in seeds, any seed, even especially seeds like this, like, you just can't save. You can't, if you charge flame once, you can't save at all. It's just really rough.
And Trojan looked like he was coming back to try and do a little bit of Glades cleanup.
Ooh, that's interesting.
But without wall jump, he was having a little bit of trouble getting to the ability cell above the health cell. So he's now working his way down to this long flipper's location. Just finds a Spirit Flame upgrade, decides not to keep it.
Alright, if Trojan is doing a Glades pickup, or Glades cleanup right now, okay, he's heading back to the right. So maybe just thinking, I want to check this out of sequence underwater pickup. But I was a little worried for Richard there that Trojan was going to go and clean up everything he missed, but he is not actually going to do that.
Yeah, if he did, finding that bash and wall jump would have been pretty easily expected for him.
Alright, instead Trojan is going to opt to head up from the Grotto Teleporter, check up a lot of things from there. We've seen him do a little bit of this, but with some more skills, he can clean up a bunch of these pickups he's missed.
Richard finds that extra air dash. That'll be a huge boon to his mobility in this seed.
An always nice pickup to see.
And Trojan finding clean water. So maybe that long flipper's pickup wasn't quite so out of sequence as we thought.
True. Although it wasn't quite progression, so he won't be going back for it, but there are a lot of other things he can check with that clean water pickup now. We'll see where he decides to go next. I'd be interested to see which tree Trojan decides is the direction he wants to go in at this moment. Richard almost certainly is going to make his way down towards the double jump tree, checking a lot of things on the way. He can check more than Trojan did with that bash. But yeah, I kind of want to see what Trojan decides to do next.
Yeah, also making good use of that bash ability to, instead of having to go around the swamp loop the way Trojan did, be able to skip straight up the through that iceless area.
Looks like Trojan's going to continue on this sort of cleanup theme. He's going to come back to the nicknamed Progression Vault, this 4 energy door in the Spider Sack area, just to check it. It's a Spirit Light efficiency. Useful, but not progression.
Yeah, Trojan might well be looking to clean up this area, or maybe even head toward the left side of the map. No, he doesn't have the ability to go to the left side of the map yet. Richard finding that double jump pickup, throwing in a few double jumps of joy.
This is interesting. Trojan has come back to Valley entry to check these 2 pickups he missed. Will he go down to check that 1 keystone in Spirit Caverns he missed? Will he forget about it? Will he decide it's not worth it? Who knows?
Yeah, Trojan will be getting his wall jump pickup here very shortly with wall jump and double jump. The ability cell in Spirit Caverns becomes a thing, so he might grab it on the way to that.
Oh. He's thinking about teleporting away, and he does.
He teleports.
You know, it's... Despite how much trouble Richard had for however long that was, it was like 20 minutes or something dumb like that, I'd almost call him caught up at this point. They have the same number of trees. Trojan's checked a bunch of more pickups in this right side of the map, but Richard still has Bash that Trojan hasn't found yet.
Yeah, exactly, Shed. And Trojan does seem to be... He seems to have a sense that there's something he needs to find in here, this area. Manages to get that ability cell he had trouble with earlier. When will he go to Spirit Caverns?
I'm thinking right about now. Yeah, here he goes. It's a little bit unfortunate for him that he chose this as his last cleanup option in Glades, or at least close to last. But he is going to be finding his Bash pickup shortly, assuming he remembers that he never got that keystone, which I would expect him to do. No, he forgot.
No, he altars!
He forgot. He does not know that he does not have that top left pickup. That's pretty brutal.
And with that, I don't see any other thing that'll pull him back into that area. Trojan might go this entire race Bashless.
The only thing I could think of to pull him back is remembering that he missed that keystone. And that is very, very difficult to do, especially since this is their 2nd seed in a row.
Yeah, and on the left here, Richard making good use of that Bash that he found, doing the All-Skills Swamp entry. This is not part of the logic of the randomizer, but very much within his ability to do.
We get to see the lovely, lovely Ori physics frog shots traveling straight through floors. It's great. Ask any speedrunner how they feel about frog shots and stomp floors.
I don't want to talk about how I feel about frog shots and stomp floors.
Exactly.
And
all right,
Trojan back into Grotto. He looks like he might be going back to that left pickup he abandoned earlier. We'll see if he makes it over, and if he does, what he finds.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a flip-flop here. Richard was kind of floundering, lost in terms of the logic for a while there, and now Trojan is kind of floundering in a slightly different way. He's just going out of his way to check every single one-off he might have missed because he does not know where the next bit of progression is. Of course, we know it's Bash, but he does not know that. And it doesn't look like there's much to help him out otherwise either, at least not yet.
Now, here's the question, though. Even with Bash, what Richard is doing isn't part of the logic. So there's some pickup that was unlocked with Bash that the seed expects us to get that neither runner has found just yet.
It's very true. So there is something else out there. Richard finds Stomp next to the Stomp tree. Is that the same spot?
That's the same spot it was in last seed, yeah.
Was it last seed or the seed before that? Something like that. But we've seen Stomp in that location today. It just doesn't want to leave its home today, apparently.
It's a very sticky Stomp pickup, and with that, I don't think we're going to see Richard looking for whatever it is that Bash unlocked for us, because he looks to be heading left.
Yeah, he's gonna take that, knowing he probably knows that he got that out of sequence, but he's gonna take it to the left side of the map anyway, saying, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with this skill set. Let's go ahead and collect some more trees to get those all-important clues.
And not only that, but he does know that the water vein is in Sorrow Pass. Sorrow Pass is on the left side. He doesn't
We
have
still
Glide.
haven't found Glide yet, yeah. But of
We
course,
haven't
Glide
found Glide.
could be on the left side. There's a couple locations where Glide can be on the left here. So we're gonna see Richard head up the right side, not opting for the kill plane despawn. That is a perfectly smart decision with his skill set, and still looking for Glide as well.
Yeah, and Richard will be very comfortable moving around this area with these exact skills. This is very close to the skill set that he would have in an all-skills run, and Richard is a very experienced all-skills player.
He's skipped that XP though, and if he misses this XP during his fast stomp list, or the ability cell during his fast stomp list attempts, he'll have skipped some pickups on this right side. So that's an interesting decision to me. This is technically a go mode. This skill set can finish the game. But, and if Richard is skipping pickups, that's telling me that he's comfortable enough to say, I am in go mode, I'm going to rush the trees now.
Yeah, he hasn't found a shot yet that he's liked. A few of them hit the ceiling. One of them looked too low. That one he decides he likes. Oh, the spider betrays him.
He still gets the fast stomp list trick though, so just missing that pickup check. Of course, he's got another pickup on the right side, so if we get something like a clue in Valley, he's got more of a reason to go back there, which is fine enough. Trojan just found Wind Restored in the Death Gauntlet underwater. That does the literal nothing until we find Glide.
It does add some nice, pretty wind effects to several places. But I wonder if Richard will go back around. I mean, we all know that nothing important could ever be on the fast stomp list cell.
Absolutely never. I have never found a skill there several times in a row in a single night.
I, of course, have never lost a race, too. Oh, no,
Trojan, go back! He's still forgotten. Oh, no. He's gonna check the cleanser. No, go back up. Yes, yes, yes. Not the energy. Oh, no, that's so unfortunate. How many times has he gone past it now? How many times has he seen it on the screen now and not gotten it? That's so unfortunate.
Richard checking the floor of Valley, finds some experience in a health cell. Looks like he's gonna make his way up now to... Is he going to Sorrow?
He's going to check this couple of pickups in the Valley main room that are considered... Oh, no, he's not, actually. He's just going to place a save. But there are a couple pickups in this main room that are considered part of Sorrow. That can be a little bit difficult to remember sometimes, but I will expect Richard to check them at some point.
Oh, no, his bird dies.
Oh, he doesn't
have enough jumps to get up there.
No, not enough jumps, nor enough health. This, of course, is the infamous Sorrow Bash. Bane of new speedrunners to this game. Richard doing a lot of double bashing to pull it off. There he goes. Now we're in Sorrow.
Yep, he's in. We'll see when he decides to drop a save. He's still only on 2 energy. 2, or is that just 1?
I think it's 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2.
And he might be choosing to save that one to go for a break. No, he's going to save here.
Oh, he's still glideless. I'd forgotten that for a moment. This is kind of rough.
Yep, Trojan circling back through a swamp loop. Still searching for something. Does a nice rocket jump there. Unfortunately, only finds experience. Richard just barely missing that frog shot, but finds a mega energy. So he can try it again a few times.
This is a little bit of a rough trick. If you... There we go. All right, so you can use that rocket jump to bait the frog shot high enough, but then you need to stall against the ceiling for a moment. And there's a couple ways to do that. The way that Richard just pulled it off there is actually with a stomp. But typically we'll see runners use like double jump or glide. But it can be difficult to remember that you actually need to do that.
And now we have
the... Go ahead.
And now we have, as Trojan is going to check the dash plant, which has been the bane of many a random runner. Richard is... Oh, what happened with that tumbleweed?
It just despawned. Okay. Thanks,
I haven't seen that before.
What
Richard's
a wonderful
grab this
video
tumbleweed and use it to fly around Sorrow.
I've never seen that despawn before. That's so good. This video game never ceases to surprise delight and horrify everyone who plays it.
That's an excellent choice of adjectives. Oh no, and now Trojan pulling out the map.
Man, it's not common to see the map pulled out during a tournament race, but we've seen it twice in this one from 2 different runners in 2 different situations.
Hopefully looking at the map will remind Trojan he doesn't have that,
He saw something.
that one pickup. No, he's still heading down.
I mean, he could teleport to Grove? Alright, let's check in with Richard. On the left side, we're seeing him attempt these boulder or tumbleweed strats. A lot of double bashes to try and get through the spiky cave without glide and without very much health, which is exactly the situation Richard finds himself in. This is not easy. It might look kind of easy. It's not.
Yeah, if he
Oh,
just
God.
barely grazes any of these spikes with either end of that of those double bashes, he will die instantly with only 4 health.
Oh, hey! Trojan first found the Sunstone.
He
Which
did
I
just
don't
find the
believe we had.
Sunstone.
I don't believe we had a clue for, but it was in a plant in, is that Grotto? That's Grotto.
Yeah, we did have, Richard does have that clue.
We do have the Sunstone clue? Okay.
Yes, that it was in Grotto, but Trojan
didn't see
finding
that
it without
earlier.
the clue.
Yeah, that's, I mean, you need that. It's not gonna help Trojan a whole lot. Alright, we're back in Spirit Caverns. Trojan's back in Spirit Caverns for like the 5th time now.
Come on, Trojan, get the keystone.
Ooh, Richard has made it past, by the way. He's up past the Dorito Cave and at charge jump now. So congratulations to him. There we go. Trojan is finally going to check it. Oh, he's not going to be happy when he sees that. That or he's going to be incredibly relieved that he finally found it. Or maybe a mix of both. Probably both.
You know, it's really hard to say. Either way, Trojan is now going to race off and do all the things that he was thinking he really wanted to do once he had some sort of other skill.
But he now needs to play catch-up with Richard. Richard has made quite a lot of progress while Trojan was off looking for that pickup.
Of course, Richard has made it to the charge jump tree using this tumbleweed, but he still has to find the water vein somewhere in Sorrow Pass, and he still doesn't have glide.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the boulder strats take 2 in the same seed. This is pretty good. You see, there's one pickup in the spikes in the middle of this left side that he can check, and if he decides to take it all the way over to the right, there's 2 pickups as well over there. And we still, yeah, just like you said, we still need the water vein. Alright. It's not there. Is he gonna do it again? He is.
Yeah, and after he got that refill off the charge jump tree, he does have 8 health, so he can take just 1 bite of these spikes here in this Dorito Cave. And oh no, Trojan going into Horu Fields. This might be where that pickup that the game wanted us to find is.
Possible. I am not entirely familiar with the intended logic paths to get through this area. This might be a skill set. It certainly looks like not the most difficult skill set to navigate with. Basically just bash makes Horu Field pretty good. And some sort of air, something, glide, double jump, which we have one of. So he's
Yeah, and
gonna
that
go
is
ahead and
exactly
check
what the
this.
logic wants you to have to go into this area. Just bash and something to keep yourself in the air for a brief second.
So there could be something here. Something like glide. Trojan would be glad to see. Charge jump. It's possible for them to be here.
Truck reminding us that with clean water, the swamp was in logic through the lower entry. So going up through Grotto near where Trojan found that sunstone.
That makes sense. I'd forgotten about clean water. Richard didn't have it, so it was sort of a sequence break for him, even if it is in progression. But Trojan has...
So Trojans climbing Mount Horu as we see Richard continuing to clear out one pickup at a time in this Dorito Cave area.
I think we're back. Sorry about that, a little bit of technical difficulty, but we are all back now. But yeah, we are seeing a Mount Horu check from Trojandude. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've seen a non-required Horu check in this tournament yet at all. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Will there be something important in the final dungeon of the game for Trojandude right now?
Oh, and we missed what that last pickup was from Richard. He had his UI turned off. Apparently decided it was not what he needed.
Wasn't a key, which is really what he's looking for right now. He is committed to doing this full check right now, which is commendable.
And thank you, Truck. Truck reminding us that Trojan's non-required Horu check can only go as far as R1 here, which leaves him those two and one more pickup because he doesn't have Stomp.
Very true. The rest of Mount Horu is hard Stomp locked. We know where Stomp is. It's over by the Stomp tree, which Trojan can get to just fine, theoretically. And just a map stone.
Oh, and poor Richard's still working out of this corner over by the sea jump tree with this tumbleweed.
Yep, he might have practiced getting here with this tumbleweed in the past, but going back is technically a different animal. It's the same trick, but like all the angles are different and your positioning's different, and it's if you're not like why would you practice this? Like, you know what he might be doing right now? I think at this point he's just trying to get back to the middle so he can drop down and check the rest of Sorrow. But at this point, like, you can just like Alt-R and teleport back and float or do Sorrow Bash again. But he's committed to doing this.
Yeah, we might be seeing an example of that sunk cost truism. Oh, Trojan making the swamp play. Using that frog shot to break the floor. He's in. Now he just has to charge flame through this blue wall. Grab that one pickup. It's just a keystone. And swim into swamp. We'll have to see if he decides to go deeper.
He very well might. I'm trying to imagine what is going through our runners' heads right now. They both spent so long in the early or mid game, respectively, trying to find something. Eventually found it and have kept going. Their competitor has not got done yet. Richard just spent more time on a rather difficult trick and is trying to check all of Sorrow Pass glideless for his water vein. Trojan has a lot possible on his plate right now, maybe a little bit overwhelmed with what he can and can't do. I don't know, this seed's just rough all around for everyone.
Yeah, Richard going for trying to get through the spike cave. I'm not sure if he can do this without taking a damage boost.
You can if you bash off the slime that's halfway through on the ceiling. You like use a mortar shot and then that slime, and you can make it all the way across with a bash glide. Alright, Trojan has found his stomp now.
So Trojan has once again reached skill parity with Richard. We'll see what he decides to do with that. He's going to skill his way up to Ultra Defense. And looks like he is going to go swimming.
Alright. Glide could be down here. Charge jump could be down here. Grenade could be down here. Any number of things. A teleporter would be really nice for Trojan. Valley or Sorrow.
Looks like Richard is deciding that it's now time to leave Sorrow Pass.
What I'd like to see Richard do now is exactly this. Alt R and go get those last 2 trees that he doesn't have yet, or even do a Sunstone hunt, because he has the clue that that's in Grotto. Because while you're doing that, you could end up with another skill that'll help you out in Sorrow Pass, like Glide. And if he gets something like that, that will help him quite a lot.
Yep, Trojan's on his last pickup here in swimming, and just XP. So we had 2 XP pickups, a Keystone, and an Energy Cell underwater.
And now he is going to be heading left side to join Richard on these left side areas.
Yep, and Richard looks like is going to work on his progress, not worry about the water vein right now. He's working his way through Misty Woods. Again, this is a set of skills minus Glide that Richard will be very comfortable working through Misty Woods with. Though, again, still at just 2 energy.
That's probably the roughest part for Richard here. Like, we saw him have a lot of trouble in Sorrow because this skill set is not good for navigating Sorrow at all. But just the 2 energy, you can't save after every little trick. You can't, like... You can't charge dash liberally. You need to make sure you're canceling at all times. This 2 energy is just so rough.
Yeah, and he is skipping pickups in Misty, which, I mean, while we know that, you know, a critical key is not in Misty Woods, health, more energy would both be, I'm certain,
Charge
welcome. Charge jump, yeah.
Can't find Glide in here, but yeah, just like any resource. Even Keystones, he only has 2, he's gonna need more.
And I think I just saw green text on Trojan's screen. He checked that Stompless cell. My eyes might have deceived me.
Don't think he actually found anything there. You're seeing things, Hal.
I want to believe.
That would be
Truck
most...
saying that it was an ability cell, so my eyes were wrong there.
If that was a skill, that would be like the saddest thing for Richard. And we've already seen some pretty rough stuff for Richard this scene. He still hasn't checked that XP at the top of Blackroot main room. Probably just checked it off his mental list already.
Yeah, it's
although
one of those...
he's also just been skipping pickups, so maybe even if he knows it's there, he's just like, nah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of check off an area in your brain. You go, no, I've checked everything in, you know, the dash area of Blackroot. Oh, taking a rough death there all the way back to the climb tree.
Ow. Yeah, he's still on 2 energy. He can't save. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, he could, but not very often. Oh, hey,
finding the Forlorn teleporter.
Oh boy. And continuing down.
What an interesting play.
There's this pickup and a map? Unless you go all the way down? You don't have a grenade. Interesting.
And he doesn't have the Gumon seal, so going into Forlorn isn't in his brain right now. He might be thinking of looking for Glide in this area.
It might be this map check. He might even be going all the way down. Yeah, there's like 4 pickups, I want to say, down at the Forlorn entrance. So it's out of the way, but it's like there's 4 pickups. There could be something there. It's not like you're going all this way for 1 check.
And
maybe it's only
there,
3. Oh
there's
my goodness.
Glide.
There's
Trojan's
charge
jump. Oh my goodness, what is this seed?
Slight correction, there's 3 pickups down here. But in any case, Trojan found charge jump at one of them. But that Glide for Richard.
Richard very pleased to find Glide, or very upset, one of the two. Either way, he is spamming that Alt-T to let us know that he has found it.
We're seeing that mix of emotions multiple times this seed. Potentially very sad, potentially very happy about a find. That Glide is going to make Richard's Sorrow checks infinitely easier. That would have made it easier earlier. But He's going to go ahead and back up to go try and collect his Water Vein, bolstered by his newfound glide.
Yeah, still skipping those 2 pickups outside in the what we think of as the valley area that are considered by the game to be in Sorrow Pass.
That's
still
kind
telling
of
us he's down glide.
Yeah, this could go on for a while, depending on how many times Richard mashed Alt-T to show us that last pickup he found.
Thankfully, he hasn't picked up anything that we're missing, so...
Yeah. Well, we hope. We're not actually sure. Who knows what that was. But yeah, not checking those 2 pickups in the Valley main room is... It's kind of a sign of inexperience, which... I've mentioned before, Richard is fairly new to the randomizer, basically just having started for this tournament, and not knowing that those 2 pickups are considered in Valley, or knowing and forgetting, is pretty common to newer or inexperienced runners, and it might bite Richard here. Hopefully, for his sake, it doesn't. That laser is going to bite him pretty hard.
Yeah, good awareness from Richard to know how to get a charge dash to lock onto that bird.
That was pretty good, yeah.
Trojan making it to the climb tree. We'll see if he decides to continue on in Misty. I don't expect he will, and no, he doesn't.
Oh, you know what I just remembered? There's a grenade-locked pickup in Sorrow.
There is a grenade-locked pickup in Sorrow.
Oh,
and grenade is the
boy.
skill we have not seen from either runner at this point.
Oh, boy. We might be seeing Forlorn after all. I hope we don't, but we might.
That's true. Regardless of where Grenade is on the map, there is always a copy of Grenade on the plant at the end of the Forlorn Escape.
Alright, Trojan is now heading down for his Grenade tree check. He's going to find Glide there, which is going to make his Sorrow checks very easy. And there's the Water Vein for Richard. It is not Grenade locked. It is not in Valley main room. It's right there in left Sorrow. And he is in full rush. He's got a skill set to finish. He's got 1 tree left, the Bash tree in Ginso. Oh no, he's got to find the Sunstone, but he's got the skill set to do it. And actually, we know where it is. It's not particularly difficult to find, although Grotto is kind of a large area. There's Glide for Trojan.
Yep, now we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled for some keystones as Richard moves through moves through the Ginso tree here. He's only got 3 right now, and while there is a key dupe, with Richard being so new to the randomizer, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a given that he knows about it.
Oh, we've seen it a few times in this tournament. I wouldn't doubt he knows about it. Whether he's practiced with it is a different question. But there are a lot of pickups in Ginso here. If he checks everything, it's possible he gets bailed out. It's also entirely possible that he doesn't actually, he hasn't been paying attention to his keystone count. I know I'm guilty of that. He's skipping pickups. He might not know that he's this low on keystones.
It's definitely an easy mistake to make, and yeah, he's skipped 2 of the 6 pickups already. And just sort of an interesting aside, he pulled up his ability menu there for a moment, looking to see if he could get triple jump or ultra defense, and wasn't able to level them up. Over on our other screen, Trojan has ultra defense and 9 ability points already.
An excess. A rich man's excess of ability cells.
Richard making short work of that mini boss.
Not excess of ability cells. He's low on those.
Looks like he's now seen his keystone count. He did some mouse movement over and finds one.
The bailout
makes.
The bailout, and that's the last keystone he's gonna need as well, as this is the last door to the last skill tree. All he needs now is to do that Sunstone search. We know where it is. He doesn't. Grotto's a large area. We'll see how Richard decides to tackle this search.
And unfortunately, that is not the red text that he needs. Getting returned.
Trojan on the right side is in Sorrow Pass now. He's going to be doing his Water Vein search on his way up towards the charge jump tree. He's got a pretty easy time of it. The only skill he's missing is Grenade. He might be thinking about not being able to check the Grenade lock pickup, but it's not a huge deal for him at the moment. Because there's
is he going to Upper Sorrow first? He's going to Upper Sorrow first. That's an unfortunate choice of route for Trojan. Of course, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's
He has
fair
no
enough.
way of knowing.
He's kind of just hoping that it's on the way to the charge jump tree, so this is a technically correct decision from him, although we know that's not where the water vein is. Richard is heading right over here to the top of Grotto. This is where we know the Sunstone is. He's going to find it right now. Lucky for him. There it is.
And an immediate altar.
He's done. He's seen that Trojan hasn't finished yet. We're closing in on the hour mark. What are you thinking if you're in Richard's spot right now? You had so much trouble with this seed. You probably feel so behind. And here you are, heading to the final escape, and your opponent isn't done yet. What are you feeling?
I mean, real talk, we have no way of knowing what our runners are thinking, but having been in situations like this myself, I can say that you almost always assume your opponent played everything perfectly. And not seeing them done as you close in on Mount Horu, the nerves just build up.
They start, I imagine they're almost skyrocketing for him right now, because if Trojan isn't done with this seed yet, Richard probably thinks that he's had a bunch of trouble just like Richard did, in which case Richard might think that this is really close. We know it's not that close. Trojan still has a lot of searching to do. But Richard might think that it is. Is Trojan going to head up? He's going to check the Sunstone first. Oh boy.
And we did get a 9th clue check there on the location of the Gumon seal. Will Trojan find that?
Probably not. Almost certainly not. Energy cell on the final escape as Richard starts. He's through. I do not expect him to have very much trouble with this final escape. Oh, never mind. Accidentally charged dashes right into a laser. He's fine. Actually, not having charge jump can be a little bit uncomfortable if you're used to having it in this escape, because there are a couple spots where the air quotes standard escapes for the speedruns tend to use charge jump.
Yeah, and not having that can be a little more uncomfortable. And as well, Richard, with only 3 energy running through here, is going to be feeling a little bit pinched too.
Yeah, oh, he does not have ultra defense and has dirty water. That's pretty rough. You can make that swim with 5 HP bash and stomp, but maybe forgetting about that fact for a moment that he is that low. He's got enough HP if he doesn't take any hits in the escape, but he's got to do it again after that.
Yeah, and he can take 1 hit from some of these patches of fire that do 4 damage, but that's it.
All right, meanwhile on the right, Trojan has found the water vein. All he has left is the bash tree. He already has his sunstone. He can head right there, but it's going to take a lot of trouble for Richard right now, and he is through the poison water, so this is looking like Richard's race. Successfully does not spawn Kuro, and he has just got to ascend through this last bit, bash off some rocks, and into the final cutscene. GG, Richard.
GG indeed for Richard, as Trojan is watching this cutscene for the beginning of Genso Escape. Richard will just have to hold right. Trojan going to be climbing this as quickly as possible, probably skipping every pickup on the way, just trying to get there.
Yep, Richard technically hasn't finished yet. He has not put a dot done in the SRO race because he still has to hold right through this cutscene, and then he will be done.
Yeah, in fact, it'll be probably another minute before he's able to do that
so,
for the length of this cutscene.
Minute or so. I'm not exactly sure as to the numbers once you've already started it at this point. But until such time as Richard is actually done, Trojan is going just to be rushing through. Because, of course, we saw that Richard, as he was approaching Horu, might have been getting nervous, but Trojan still also hasn't seen Richard dot done as well. And he's been he had a lot of trouble in the mid-game of this seed, so he's almost certainly feeling very behind as well. Oh boy.
Yep, so with Richard finishing up walking Naru to the right, we will be getting a Game 3. That will be scheduled once our racers have had a chance to figure out when they can both make another game happen. And we will see when they do that. Trojan just has to finish up his final escape here. He has all of the skills except grenade, so an escape he should be pretty comfortable with.
There we go. Richard has finished a final time of 103.59. Just as you said, this will be progressing to a Game 3 in this match. Neither runner has secured their place in the next stage of brackets. It's tied up.
And thank you, Villagin, informing us that Game 3 has been scheduled. It will be tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight.
Trojan, there's a whole section of ground here missing. I forgot about that because Trojan has watched the R1 cutscene, which changes the landscape outside of Horu. That's not a common sight.
Yeah, in that cutscene where Gumo and Naru run up to the front of Mount Horu and a meteor comes down and knocks out the bridge, it actually knocks out the bridge. And Trojan going to check this validation experience for us. It's just 200 XP.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, but it barely made his XP wheel move, even with that Spirit Light efficiency he picked up early on. He's picked up so many levels, still with double-digit ability points.
Yeah, he's now in the final escape. Full skill wheel save for grenade, but he doesn't need that. Just means he won't be able to grenade jump the end, but everything else should be easy sailing for him.
Yep, charge dashing across that first room, dash and charge dashing up those lanterns, stomping through the floor, charge flaming the wall, charge dashing over the top of the elemental, dashing through this room with the mortars. He's even got extra air dash. Clean water, he has nothing to fear here. We'll see if he goes for fish strats. He decides not to. Doesn't spawn Kuro, and just has to bash off a couple of rocks and hold right for a while.
There we go.
GG to Trojan.
Trojan. I was about to say congratulations, but we haven't actually gotten a winner yet. They're 1-1. And yeah, just like you mentioned, come back tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, to see the conclusion of this match. Oh boy.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. But of course, because this was a 1-1 finish, we are going to wait for an actual victor to talk to these runners, so no interview from them right now.
And in case you can't wait for that wonderful conclusion to this match, we do have more Ori for you tomorrow. We have Infinite facing off against Ushebti in their first 2 races of their best 2 out of 3, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Speed Gaming, the main channel.
And we have, of course, more races besides that, including Game 3 of this match tomorrow for you, as well as plenty more this week and the coming months, in fact, as we finish up the bracket. Trojan finishing up the seed with a 107.41. GG again, dude. Rough seed, but you pulled it through. And I'm excited to see the conclusion of this match tomorrow. Until such time, I've been Shed. I've been co-commentating with Hal. Thank you to all of our people behind the scenes, Meldon, Poogle Trucking, Hydron restreaming all day today. He's done a great job. Give him some great props and food if you can. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
Indeed. Good night, folks.